Hi, my name is Myra Kagete and welcome to a new English tutorial video. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to use in spite of and despite in sentences. In spite of and despite have the same meaning. These are prepositions that show contrast. They express contrast between two things. If there is contrast between two things, ibig sabihin, hindi sila umaakma sa isa't isa, magkasalungat sila kasi magkaiba sila. In Filipino, ang maaaring kahulugan ng in spite of at despite ay kahit na o sa kabila ng. We went to the beach in spite of the bad weather, or we went to the beach despite the bad weather in Filipino could be pumunta kami sa beach kahit na masama ang panahon, o pumunta kami sa beach sa kabila ng masamang panahon. Remember that we never put of after despite, okay? In spite of at despite lang. Walang of after despite. Now, how do we structure sentences using in spite of and despite? We usually use in spite of and despite with the noun phrase. Sa sentences now, we went to the beach in spite of the bad weather at we went to the beach despite the bad weather. Yung the bad weather ay isang example ng noun phrase. Kung gusto ninyo, unahin ninyo yung phrase or yung clause na nagsisimula sa in spite of at saka despite. So you can say, in spite of the bad weather, we went to the beach. Or, despite the bad weather, we went to the beach. Kapag isusulat ninyo yung sentences na yan, kailangan merong comma after ng clause with in spite of at despite.
Here are some more examples. He lives in a simple house in spite of his fame and wealth. Or, in spite of his fame and wealth, he lives in a simple house. She still works in the factory despite her old age. Or, despite her old age, she still works in the factory.
We can also use in spite of and despite with a gerund or a gerund phrase. Anong ibig sabihin ng gerunds? Kapag sinabi natin gerunds, these look like verbs in their ing forms, but they don't really function as verbs. They function as a noun. For example, I like swimming. Sa sentence na yan, yung swimming ay hindi verb, although it looks like a verb in its ing form, it is not a verb. It is a noun, okay? It functions as a noun. So it is the act of swimming, paglangoy. Or, I enjoy going to the beach. Sa sentence na yan, yung going to the beach ay isang halimbawa ng gerund phrase because it starts with a gerund.
Here are some example sentences using in spite of or despite plus a gerund or a gerund phrase. He runs very fast in spite of being overweight. Or, in spite of being overweight, he runs very fast. I went out with my friends despite having a headache. Or, despite having a headache, I went out with my friends.
It is also common to use in spite of and despite with the phrase, the fact that. So we can say, in spite of the fact that, or despite the fact that. But remember, kapag ginamit natin yung in spite of the fact that, or despite the fact that, they should be followed by a subject and a verb. So there should be a clause after in spite of the fact that or despite the fact that. I didn't pass the test in spite of the fact that I studied hard. I didn't pass the exam despite the fact that I studied hard. So they are exactly the same. After ng in spite of the fact that, nilagay dyan yung I, which is the subject, and then studied. So may subject and then there is a verb. Ibig sabihin yan, bumagsak ako sa exam or bumagsak ako sa pagsusulit sa kabila ng pag-aaral ko ng mabuti. Or bumagsak ako sa exam kahit na nag-aral ako ng mabuti. Of course, pwede rin ninyong pagbaliktarin yung dalawang clauses na yan. You can say, in spite of the fact that I studied hard, I didn't pass the exam.
Now let's do an activity. Which of the following sentences is correct? Letter A, despite of the rain, they went on a picnic. Letter B, despite the rain, they went on a picnic. The correct answer is letter B. Despite the rain, they went on a picnic. Remember, we never add of to despite. Number 2. Which of the following sentences is correct? Letter A, they woke up late in spite of go to bed early. Letter B, they woke up late in spite of going to bed early. The correct answer is letter B. They woke up late in spite of going to bed early. In spite of and despite should be followed by a noun phrase, a pronoun, or a gerund, that is a verb in the ing form. In spite of and despite are not followed by a verb. Number 3. Which of the following sentences is correct? Letter A, she never loved him despite the fact that he gave all she wanted. Letter B, she never loved him despite of fact that he gave all she wanted. The correct answer is letter A. She never loved him despite the fact that he gave all she wanted. Remember, we can say in spite of the fact that or despite the fact that. Again, walang of after despite.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you learned something new today. Please don't forget to click the like button if you did. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And please share this video with your friends, to those who you think are very much interested in learning English. Thank you so much for your time today. Bye!